Hello there, Virgo. Thank you for stopping by for your weekly tarot forecast for the week of May 11th through the 17th. I am using my Russian Tarot of St. Petersburg once again. And so, Virgos, what you have coming up on Monday is you have the King of Swords showing up in reverse. And I'm kind of liking what I'm feeling off of the King of Swords in reverse for you guys, Virgos. This is telling me that, this is telling me that couple of different things are coming in. So the first thing that's coming in the strongest is telling me that you have been taking some action. You have been busy for a while, and this is with a certain project, and I feel like for a lot of you this has to do with relationships. Now keep in mind, when I say relationships, that's not necessarily romantic. It can be romantic, but we could also be talking about a family relationship, a friendship, or a business relationship as well. But there's some kind of action that you've been taking to kind of cultivate this relationship or to grow this relationship, and you've been working on this a while. And so on Monday, what I see is I see you taking a break from this, being still. It's time to be quiet. It's time to listen. It's time to see where the other person is coming from. It's time to hear what it is that they have to say. It seems like in this relationship there's been some real struggle with communication. There's been a hard time for each of you to understand the other. And I feel like with the action that you've been taking, you've been able to get your point across to other people, but you haven't so much been listening to their side. So now it's time to listen to how they see things. What are they perceiving as you guys are going through this? And get a good idea of where they're coming from. Because of course, if you know where they're coming from, then that makes it much easier for you to meet them somewhere in the middle. Okay, so that's what I see Monday. I see time for stillness and for quietness and just to listen and see and take time to really understand the other person. You've got your point across. Now it's time to listen to what's their point. Okay, so then Virgo, on Tuesday, what I have coming up here is the Eight of Coins. And the Eight of Coins really indicates for me work. This is the work card. So it talks about going to work, that way that you make a living. But it also can talk about those things that we do to improve our character. I consider that work as well. And it feels to me like Virgos, on Tuesday, you've got some real work to do as far as that character type stuff. It seems to me like as you listened to this other person on Monday, you kind of realized, maybe I haven't been exactly fair. Maybe I haven't really had my ears open to this person before. Maybe I haven't been taking them into consideration in some ways that I probably should have been. And so I feel like that's really the work that you're doing on Tuesday, is to try to figure out inside of yourself, okay, well, what can I do to change how I'm handling this situation so that I'm handling it in a more positive and healthy manner, so that what I'm contributing to this relationship is something positive that helps it to move forward, instead of something that makes it stagnate. There's something there about demanding, that you've been very demanding in this relationship. And at this point, and keep in mind, this is a general reading, so this isn't going to apply to everybody. If it resonates with you, take it. If it doesn't, throw it away. It doesn't belong to you. But at this point, what I'm feeling like for the ones that I'm feeling on this card is that there are some changes that need to be made, not only on the other person's part to make this relationship better, but also on your part, that this is a two-way street. And it's something that you kind of didn't realize before you started listening to the other person before. You didn't really realize where they were coming from. And so now as you see where they're coming from, it's like an aha moment for you. You kind of get it. And so Tuesday is a day of figuring out, okay, well, how can I be more accommodating to this other person without losing my own integrity for myself as well. Okay, so pretty deep for Tuesday. Wednesday, what we have showing up is we have the Five of Cups. And the Five of Cups talks about a situation where typically what happens is we're disappointed by someone or by something, and that causes us to decide that we want to put our efforts and our energies in more of another place. We're kind of resetting priorities about where we want to spend effort and energy after this disappointment. So that's kind of what I see coming up on Wednesday. That Five of Cups is resetting of priorities. Where am I going to be putting my energy and my efforts? Kind of changing those around and figuring out what is going to work best for you based on what just happened. It was kind of an eye-opening experience. It feels to me like you saw somebody's true colors, Virgo, and it really surprised you. I don't think you're expecting to see what you saw, and that's what really has caused you to want to change priorities about how you're spending your time and your energy. Now, the next card that comes up, we're actually counting down on the cups. We went from the Five of Cups to, on Thursday, we have the Four of Cups. Now, Four of Cups to me really is all about pity party. Pity party. So, yesterday on Wednesday, you readjusted your energy and your effort and where you want to prioritize that. On Thursday, I see you still kind of feeling a little bit like, oh man, this is just such a bummer. Why did this happen? How could this be? And so you're kind of soaking yourself in those types of thoughts on Thursday. The bad thing about doing something like that, though, is that you really, when you focus on those types of things, you really miss out on the good types of things that are coming in, even as you're focusing on that. So there are some good things coming in. There is some help coming in from Spirit. There are some opportunities that can come out of this situation, but you have to quit looking down. You have to quit going, why me, poor me, because as long as you're looking down going, why me, poor me, you're not seeing those other opportunities around you. So, if you hear this reading ahead of time, on Thursday, if you start feeling that pity party energy come in, shoo it off. Just tell yourself, oh, I know that I could have this pity party and I have every right to have this pity party, but it's just going to make me feel junky anyway. So instead, I'm going to be looking around for other opportunities that I can use here. So free will changes everything. So hopefully you guys can change that for Thursday. Now Friday, what we have showing up here, Virgos, is we have the Page of Swords in reverse. This is telling me detective work. Virgo, you've been doing some detective work. You have been hunting around, trying to find out some information. Trying to find out some information is kind of like coming to a psychic for a reading. Before you start digging around looking for information, you better make sure you're ready for whatever might pop up. Just like when you come to a psychic for information, please try to make sure you're ready for whatever answers could come in from Spirit. So Friday, I do see you digging for information. I see you having some information come up. And to me, it feels like you really already suspected. You kind of knew. That's why you were digging. But at the same time, I feel like you're really disappointed to find out that what you thought was going on is really true. So, like I said, if you're not ready to find out whatever may be under the surface, good, bad, in the middle, whatever, then maybe you shouldn't be digging just yet. You should wait until you're ready for whatever might come up. So once again, free will can change that. But I do see a lot of you actually digging around and finding some things that, on one hand, you kind of wish you hadn't found it because it's disappointing. But on the other hand, like I always say, it's the truth that makes you free. So whenever you find out the truth about something, you can always make better decisions regarding that situation. And I feel like that's what's coming up right here. Now on Saturday, you guys have the Knight of Coins showing up in reverse. And Virgo, this kind of surprises me about you. I see you Virgos as being very stable, steady, diligent, really, there's another word, responsible. I see Virgos as acting very responsibly most of the time. When the Knight of Coins comes in reverse like this, what that's telling me is that you're blowing your budget. which I don't think of as being your normal type of your personality. But there's something that you're spending money on Saturday that is not in your normal budget, and that when you spend this money, I feel like you're going to have to come back later on and make up for it, kind of rob Peter to pay Paul type of thing. So, but I do feel like this situation for you, Virgo, is an emotional situation that has you spending money. So I'm getting a couple of different scenarios in, and this is a general reading, so not everything is going to apply to every single person here. But I'm getting in a scenario that has to do with someone who's older and who maybe has made some kind of wish, and you've heard of that wish, or you've heard them make that wish, and you just really want to bring them that happiness. And then I'm also seeing another scenario which is kind of opposite end of the age spectrum, but this is for someone younger, maybe for like a birthday party for them, or for some kind of celebration for them, or something to make them happy. For some of you, this person isn't even related to you, this younger person, but it's just somebody that you've seen around, or that's in the neighborhood or something, but you've seen them around, and you just want to give them something really nice because you've recognized that in their lives they don't have a lot of really nice things that make them happy, and so you want to do something nice for them that makes them happy. And then what was the other? I feel like for some of you there's just going to be a playful situation where you have time with a child, possibly a grandchild, and they're just going to playfully say something just kind of off the cuff, and you're just going to think, wow, what a great idea. I want to have that experience with this little one. And so then you just decide, well, it's worth it to spend the money on that, even if it does blow the budget and I have to make up for it later. So, of course, there are other ways that this can manifest, but those are the three strongest ways that are coming in for me. Okay? So that looks like Saturday, spending some money that you weren't planning on spending, blowing your budget out of whack a little bit, something that you're going to have to come back and correct later on, Virgos. And then Sunday, what we have coming up is we have the Seven of Clubs. Now the Seven of Clubs, Virgo, is just telling me that this is a time for you to take a stand for yourself. This is a time when it's appropriate for you to stand up to somebody and say, hey, you know what? I know this is what you really want to do, but I really don't see myself in this situation. And, letting them know firmly, because this is a point where you don't want to be walked over. And if you're not very firm about taking your stand, you're going to get walked over and disregarded. So Sunday, I see you just really taking your stand. And I'm feeling like once you take the stand, I feel like it's very stressful for you to take this stand, Virgo. I feel like for a lot of you, this is a situation that you normally don't have to stand up to this other person, or this type of situation. Maybe it's a work situation where there's more than one person, but normally you don't have to stand up for yourself like this. And this is something that it's really stressing you out that you even have to. You're really worried about other people's reactions whenever you do this, because they're so used to seeing you quietly going with the flow all the time, and you're just at a place right now where you just can't do that with this. So I see you being very tense about taking a stand for yourself before it comes up. I don't think you actually plan to take a stand, but I do think you kind of know something is coming in and that somebody's going to want you to do something that you're just not cool with. And so in that way, I see you sort of getting ready, but I don't see you really telling yourself, okay, I am gonna have to do this. But I do see it coming out spontaneously, that whenever the situation comes up, you just spontaneously stand up for yourself because you don't feel like you have a choice. Okay? But here's what I'm really getting to with all of this is that afterwards, after you take the stand for yourself, what I'm feeling is relief. I feel like you're going to feel very relieved after you've taken the stand for yourself. I think people are going to take it a little bit better than you expect. There's a few cases where I'm feeling some real negativity about you taking a stand. They're like, what? But for most of the situations that you Virgos are going to find yourself in, I feel like the other person is taking it pretty well. actually, and for some of them they're going to be kind of surprised you haven't done this before, and some of them are just really going to be like, they're not going to have realized that this could possibly be a problem until you say something to them, and then it's like, oh duh. So I feel like for most of you, you taking a stand is going to be taken pretty well, and you're going to feel relief afterwards because you're off the hook from doing something that you didn't want to do to start with. But also I think you're going to feel kind of happy and kind of proud of yourself that you were able to say what you needed to say, that you were able to tell your truest truth, and get yourself out of a situation that you really didn't feel like you belonged in to start with. Okay, so that's a really good card for you on Sunday. So Virgo, that is your week. For those of you who would like to schedule a private session with me, feel free to check out my website. I'm at amista.info, amista.info. Once you're there and you've looked around a little bit, if you still feel like I'm the best reader for you, then go ahead and get a hold of me and we'll schedule a session for you as quickly as possible. And then for everybody else, I'll see you all here next week. Everyone have a great week. Peace out.